come by every week and just, go through a few pages a week and make sure that we're at least thinking about collective economics and how we can be plugging our ideas into this time-tested model.
Beautiful. Any questions for Greg before he passes it on? Well, obviously he'll be coming more. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Anybody else? I'm always about to ask questions. No, I think it's a really good opportunity for a young man. I see the communities of color always get attacked whenever we come with our own underground economic strategies. Just like they were harassing the paleteros, they were harassing people bending, without a license, and how sometimes they make it difficult. Also, I know some of you guys in here know about the history, but Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street that the U.S. destroyed. And so it's good to know, because at the end of the day, no matter how you cut it, we live in capitalism, and before we destroy it, we need to know how it works, and we need to be able to maintain ourselves, to be able to pay the little room that we have, pay a little rent, pay a little gas, pay a little insurance, to be able to keep us going and to be able to fight and struggle. And so it's good to bring that into awareness of these youth. And also right here, it's something, it sounds simple, but it's not. Right here at Homefulness, we're practicing that. That's what we're doing right here. We don't pay rent, but we pay a contribution, because guess what? The waste management, the garbage people, they still want they want their money each month. The East Bay month, the water, they don't, no matter what, they want to use their water, you use the utilities. They waiting for their cut too, so there's no way around it, right? So we build the new world. We be able to, utilize and understanding and work together, and because we're being taught so much about myself and me and mine and this capitalist way of thinking. So even what we're doing is hard to people understand, especially when it comes to damn, what do you mean you work there, you live there? So when do you have privacy? And it's you don't have privacy. This is your privacy right here. But right on, man. Thank you for bringing that, and I hope to even learn more of myself.
We'll definitely we'll all be in your class, Greg.
Yeah, I was learning about that.
Greg, a young friend of mine named Kingdom. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, Tut. He works at Carl Richmond.
Oh, so you do know him?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, he came by the Oscar Grant committee meeting last night and said he had just left. But, see, here's the problem with a new movement. We got a new movement for cooperatives. Obviously, I want this movement to do well. But y'all, it seemed like to me, y'all kind of drifting. There's no roots, because you got to know where you're going to begin. In other words, a cooperative is not a jive time hustle. It's a group of people that get together to sell a commodity, skill in carpentry or running a grocery store or something. You got to do something. So they got a couple of daycare things together. I like that, because that's not something, sisters, if they really get together, they can figure that out. But we have to kind of start developing perspectives on what do we teach our people, because they already got us thinking we ain't worth a shit. So we have to, excuse me, I didn't mean to use a bad word. But we have to start figuring what can we do. Actually, if you look on YouTube, they got all these do-it-yourself tapes where you can actually figure out how to be useful in some field. But you have to pick a field. You have to interact with the public. You have to win their support that you're honest and you're not just a caper. And because people will use your service and you make a mistake and they say, well, I know they just getting started, as long as they keep trying. Because it's true, the more you work at something, the better you get at it. But I don't see tell me, man, how are y'all developing a perspective? That is, when you get young people to come your way that are skillless, have no knowledge because they went to the public schools, what do we have to sell?
That's hard.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on, just hard life.
So one of the things that we learned in this book club is that a lot of the cooperative businesses that were started back in the past, all of them were started through study circles and book clubs. So the first thing that we have to do is get together and first talk about it,
Get some
right?
knowledge. Okay.
And figure out like what is it that we don't know and how can we like what are some examples of this working out. I was just presenting on Sunday, and the question that came is, okay, like you're telling me this history about how all of our businesses got blown up and didn't work. Like why would I want to do this? And the point is not that the businesses got blown up, but that we kept moving and kept creating businesses despite that, and they would have been successful if not for like terroristic, like political and physical violence, right? So what we're trying to do is at least get people to think about cooperative economics who are already thinking about starting their own business, and then for when folks are coming to these workshops, they can link up together. Like there's already people who come to these book clubs and workshops who are thinking like, hey, like we're of the same mindset. Let's think about starting a business. And like that wouldn't have happened if they didn't come to these book clubs.
You're right.
And we're gonna like after we move off of Collective Courage, we're gonna take a vote to see what other people want to read about next, and hopefully it's industry specific. I think we may go into marketing because that's one of the biggest things for a business is like getting the word out there. But to be honest, like we've learned a whole bunch about like Ella Jo Baker and the Young Negro Cooperatives League and like the radical plans that they had. Like they wanted to create buying clubs everywhere, grocery stores, they wanted to create their own bank, credit union, they wanted to create factories. They wanted to do all of that in 4 years, right? Like really ambitious. And there were intentional communities in the 1800s, something I had no idea happened, and they were all done cooperatively. So just knowing that like our people were doing that in the past, and like I'm thinking of this now maybe because of that ancestral memory and like being pushed forward in that. So you mentioned Kingdom Tut. He's working at Cooperation Richmond, and they're a technical assistance provider and a revolving loan fund. So they already are creating the networks and the like support systems needed out in Richmond, so that when people are interested, they have the people who can help them and the money that they need to get forward. And what we're trying to do is bring that similar thing here to Oakland, so that we can create more cooperative businesses that way.
Okay.